Hello everyone and welcome to Thursday Thoughts episode 2. And if you missed Thursday Thoughts episode 1, we recorded it, we've edited it and we've made it look pretty, and it's over on our YouTube channel. If you don't know who I am, my name's Michael Ingledew. I'm the Managing Director here at Tech Data World. Today I'm going to go through kind of three main areas of the episode here. I'm going to go through some news, I'm going to go through some Q&A, and I'm going to go through some of the stuff that we're talking about for next week's episode, which will give you an idea on whether it's something that you want to watch or whether it's something you want to share with your team, etc., etc. But today, I love it when technology works. We are live over 3 different channels. We are on our Facebook page, we are on our YouTube channel, and we are live streaming to our website. So that means that regardless of what you're allowed to access from within your corporate networks, you should be able to see us nice and live somewhere. The only problem with the live stream on the website is we haven't quite figured out yet how to do the Q&A, the dynamic Q&A that might come in from you, the viewer, to us here at TDW, but I'm sure that we will figure that out. But if you want to ask us any questions or add any comments, you can send them in to us on our social channels, which is running above me right now, or you can add a comment into Facebook or into YouTube, and I will do my very, very best to monitor the plethora of screens that I have open in front of me, as well as driving the keyboard and all of the stuff down here that I need to control. Just want to say that those of you that have taken the time to send in your thoughts and your comments and your feedback, I just want to say thank you, because it kind of lets us know that we're doing the right thing, that what we're doing is what you want to see, and it's what you want to hear from people like us here at TDW. Again, I've mentioned how you can send us all the questions. Last week, I got a comment from one of the guys here that I tend to repeat myself. So I'm trying my very best this week not to repeat myself. So I want to look at some industry news, and I want to look at some members news that's kicking around that might be interesting to you guys. I did make the fatal mistake before coming out here to speak to you of having a handful of mixed nuts and raisins, and if you eat mixed nuts and raisins, you know that they leave residue in places that are just not helpful when you're about to do a live stream. So I'll do my best to fight through, but I have got some water with me in front of me right now. So I want to talk a little bit about some news that I saw today. And, you know, when I got up this morning and I checked the news channels, I saw that Airbus is warning that they are going to cut some jobs here in Europe. And whilst I didn't read the full detail of why they're saying that right now, it does look like there's obviously aircraft sales are at the root of this. And essentially that will have a knock-on effect, I'm absolutely sure, to us and us in our particular domain and what we do. So, you know, Airbus catches a cold, we'll all start coughing and sneezing as well. So that's really unfortunate, and it's terrible news, especially if you work for Airbus. So my thoughts are with you at this particular uneasy time. I know what it can be like when you have this kind of uncertainty in the workplace. But right now, the positive is it's only an early warning as far as I can tell, but we got that off the BBC website. Member news, GPSL. If you don't know who GPSL are, they focus on implementing sort of PTC software, other software as well, but they do lots of stuff around Windchill, and they do lots of stuff around the old LBS software, which is owned by PTC. They announced this week that they are going to be doing a series of webinars, as I understand from Andy Keefe, on how Windchill can support your legacy S1000D requirements. So that starts next week, I believe, next Thursday. And you can go to the GPSL website. We'll make sure after this recording that we put a link down below. You can go over and you can register for that and look how Windchill is going to be able to support your S1000D needs. And I know there's lots of you out there that are looking at PTC products. I know there's lots of you that were concerned about legacy support. It looks like GPSL are actually going to answer this particular question for you. So go ahead and register. I think it'll be worthwhile. WebEx Systems, obviously a company that's growing and growing rapidly. You know, when you look at the business that they're winning, and they announced this week that they're looking to increase their development team, which is always a great sign when a company is growing. But I did notice on LinkedIn and I think Twitter, I think we shared it, that Jamal and his team are looking to grow the software development team, and they are looking for, I believe, application developers. So iOS, Android, those kind of things. If you're interested, I would suggest that you go and you follow WebEx on LinkedIn, Twitter, all those places. And or if you would like an introduction, get in touch with us and we'd be more than happy to send you Jamal's or Stephen's contact details, and they'll be able to talk to you, I'm absolutely sure. There was 2 pieces of news that we were going to announce this week. The cutoff was 4 o'clock. We've had the nod and the wink from both organisations, but we haven't had the formal okay from their masters. So we are not going to be able to talk about that particular bit of news that I wanted to talk about. We'll talk about that next week, but you'll get an idea of what it is very, very shortly. Those of you TDIQ subscribers who have been beating me up about the effective data reuse in S1000D, and you have been asking us when we're going to release the updated course on that. The effective data reuse course was one of those that I started doing. I started penciling it. I did it. I put it together, and essentially I just kept growing and growing and growing, and I just wanted to keep adding more and more and more. And then, you know, the guys here have just said, look, Mike, just leave it as it is now and let's get it released. So I've actually been QAing it. You can see it on the screen behind me. Jamie's done the editing. It will be live Monday morning, and you TDIQ subscribers will be able to go on and take the new effective data reuse in S1000D. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to CDS Defence Support. Now, CDS Defence Support have completely blown us away by inviting us to be their guests at in one of their hospitality suites at the Army Navy game this year. Now, if you've never been to the Army Navy game in the UK, it's absolutely a phenomenal event. And the guys at CDS invited us as their guests, which, as I can say, absolutely has blown us away. And we've obviously gladly accepted. I normally always go to this event, not that I generally remember much of it, if I'm perfectly honest, and those of you that go, you'll know why, but yet we're going along as their guest. Now, they've kindly agreed as well that we can take you guys along. We're going to be able to do a vlog from there, and we will not do it live, but we will certainly do some video editing, and then we will put it live on TDIQ, onto YouTube and those kind of places. So a massive, massive thank you to the CDS Defence Support. Charlotte also wanted me to mention that they are celebrating, is it the International Women's Day today, and on their LinkedIn feeds and their Twitter feeds and those kind of things, they have been posting lots of pictures of the ladies that work at CDS, and we've had a look, and some of them are great pictures, and go along and have a look at that. Now, let's move into some of the questions, which is kind of what this is about. Building that community, sharing some experiences, sharing the knowledge from you guys with everybody else around the world, so we can all succeed with using technical publications, standards, specifications, those kind of things. Now, we had 3 low-hanging fruit kind of questions this week, which I will answer. And one came in from Australia. Sorry about that. That's the worst accent ever I've had to put on. So one came in from Australia, one came in from Ultra Electronics here in the UK, and they were both around TDW Live. When will we be opening the registration for TDW Live this year. And the short answer to that is, in about 2 weeks' time, we're meeting Aspire at their offices up in Tamworth. Now, if you don't know who Aspire are, Aspire run what we've introduced, the second track to TDW Live, which is the more supportability topics around technical publications, product support, those kind of things. And these guys are deep domain experts in this. And we're meeting in about 2 weeks' time with Peter and Lee and those guys. And we're going to put together the theme and the agenda. And we are going to publish that, we hope, by the end of March. That being said, if we are holding you up, if we are slowing you down getting approval, then please get in touch with either Lewis or Claire, and they will send you information that will get you down that approval process, especially if you're coming from Australia. I know that there'll be a lot of spends that you'll need to get authorized from your neck of the woods. So absolutely, if we're holding you up, we will make a commitment to you, but just get in touch with Claire or Lewis, and they will send you some stuff. Will you be doing some more simplified technical English training on TDIQ? That was easy for me to say. We do have a short course on there right now that was put together by Dr. Mike Unwala, and it is a very basic introduction to simplified technical English, and we absolutely plan to build on that. Now, in again the same week that I'm meeting Aspire, I'm meeting an industry expert on simplified technical English, and we're going to sit down about how we can collaborate with them more on the areas that they're very, very strong, which is simplified technical English, and how we can work together and maybe utilize TDIQ or some of these live streams to educate and help educate on simplified English. So that's absolutely coming your way. So great question, and yes, it's coming your way. This one came in from a Gmail address, so we don't know, if you're watching, whether you are joking, whether you are serious. So we're going to treat it that you're being serious. And you asked us just in a very, very short email saying, just what is the point of S1000D, which is a fantastic question. And it's far too big for me to answer here in this short online presentation, but you have given us a great idea for a public tutorial that we will do. We're going to have some fun with it, and we're going to play with that subject, and we're going to put some great animations into it. We're going to put some great thought into it, and it was a very, very good question, and I think you're being serious, and but you know, we will answer that for you. So I want to come on to the main question that I talked about last week, very, very briefly. And it came into us a few weeks ago by a TDIQ subscriber in the United States. And I'm going to call you D, because otherwise we may give away your identity, and you might get inundated with sales calls and those kind of things, which we don't want. But this was a very, very good question. And first and foremost, thank you, because you do send in some very, very good questions to us, and you are giving us inspiration for some tutorials that we are making on YouTube and we are making over on TDIQ. So thank you for that. But in your email of about 4 or 5 questions, you asked the question around the S1000D process module, and should you be using it, how can we be using it, why should we be using it? And then the second part of that question or statement was, you essentially said that your software vendor was saying don't use it or steering you away from it, which I also have a certain amount of sympathy for. So let's try and break this down. Now, I know that I've answered you already in an email, but for the benefit of the wider community, if you are not familiar with what the S1000D Process Module is, the S1000D Process Module is a data module on steroids. And essentially what it is, it's about creating logic loops that when we deploy it, it is asking in an interactive manual, in some like an IETP or some kind of deployable from your vendor, it will be asking the end user for parameters. Now, the there are some great examples up on the s1000d.org website, so you can go and have a look at that. We've also created some examples on TDIQ, and we're going to be building some more tutorials around the process module. But the process module is all about capturing data from the end user, and based on that data, takes the user to the next appropriate piece of information. So the example, the very, very simple example, is inflating a tire on a bike. And if it's overinflated, you have to replace the inner tube. And if it's underinflated, you take the user to how to inflate the tire safely, etc. So it works really, really well when you get it really, really right. Now, I was lucky enough to be working on a very, very technologically advanced project in Germany, and it was a European project, but they had no technical authors on this project. It was all systems engineers, systems designers, academics, those guys, super, super smart people. And they took a decision early on that all they wanted to do was they wanted to focus on creating S1000D process modules for their deployment of supporting the ground stations for their equipment that goes out in space. So now it was very, very apparent early on that the process module for them was very, very complex to put together. And I saw a great presentation probably about 4 or 5 years ago now from a gentleman called Mark Tuttle. Now, if you've never met Mark Tuttle, I don't know whether he's still doing the technical publications S1000D kind of circuit, but he worked at the time for Inmedius, and they at the time, which is now part of CDG, had a tool that they could drag and drop and put parameters into to help you make an S1000D process module quite easily. But I do remember watching the presentation going, my God, we're never going to persuade technical authors to be able to create these kind of process modules. And that's not really the point. The process module should be written by somebody who has kind of a logic brain, can think programmatically. Somebody, a really experienced technical author could absolutely pick this up. But we found that people that know how to do JavaScript and that kind of stuff pick it up really, really quickly and really easily. A traditional author or a normal technical author that writes descriptive and procedural information through the day, when asked to write a process module, tends to have a meltdown. And it's because it's essentially, it's as close to programming as you're going to get in technical publications. So to answer your question, if you get it right, then absolutely it can add value into your end deliverable to your end users. It can make your end users more efficient in accessing information, make your end users super efficient in getting to the right information at the right time and the most appropriate information. But be aware that it requires a specialist skill set, and it requires specialist training and know-how and those kind of things. The second part of the question, where you're saying your software vendor is diverting you away from or suggesting you shouldn't be using it, I have a certain amount of sympathy for, because as I've mentioned, I've been involved on the software side in my previous life, and I know that the implementation programmatically can also be a bit of bile for the programmers. So I kind of get it. I kind of understand why they're driving you away. I did say in my email there could be reasons for that. They don't support it. They don't want to support it. They can't support it. They've got a bad experience supporting it. It could be a lot of different reasons why. But I hope that answers your question around the S1000D process module, what it is, how it can benefit, where it can be really, really strong. This is where I want to throw it out to the community. I want you guys to send in to us, are you being successful with the S1000D process module? Are you using it successfully? Have you tried using it? Have you failed? Are you planning on using it? What tools are you using to create the process module? These things are all super important to the wider community, to help educate the community, to make everybody successful with using things like S1000D. So I'm going to move on to what's happening next week, because we've been going nearly 25 minutes, and I said that we would try and finish this within the 30 minutes. So next week, the podcast that will be released will be the one that I talked about last week, which is the why what we do here at in our technical publications arena is so important. And I'm going to use the inquest as the example that I talked about last week, where a warning was missing from some information and a pilot ultimately died. And we've downloaded some information on that, and we're going to make sure that it's absolutely factually accurate before we go live. But that is planned to be released. I think Jamie's going to be editing it next week, and it will be live Thursday. Talking of Thursday, next week I am in Switzerland all week. So I am flying into Geneva on Monday, and then I'm going over to Freiburg, where I'm working with a customer on some requirements. And so follow us on Instagram, because I'll put loads of pictures up, and I'll try and put some Instagram stories up. If you are in that area, Freiburg or Geneva, and you want to meet for a coffee or something a little stronger, send me a message. More than happy to make some time and let you know where I'm staying, and we can meet for a bite to eat or something along those lines. It'd be great to sit and have a coffee with you or something. And so that means Thursday Thoughts next week will be, I hope, from Geneva Airport. So I've got the technology working. Assuming they've got great Wi-Fi or 4G connection, we will connect up and we will do everything live from Geneva Airport. So that means that any of our members, that if you've got any news or updates that you want including, please ping them over to us before Thursday next week, so we can include them for the wider network to enjoy and to be educated. But also, that's the same day that the GPSL webinar is on. So I'm planning on joining that webinar from the airport, and then an hour later be jumping onto the Thursday Thoughts onto our Facebook page and to our YouTube channel and to our website and all of those wonderful things. So that just leaves me to check for some comments that I'm going to see. I know that we've had some great comments coming in that, great job, TDW. We're loving what you're doing, TDW. Mike, looking good. Thank you very much. I have actually lost a few pounds. Thank you for noticing. And, lots of people just thanking us for what we're doing. And, we're enjoying it. We're really loving putting together this whole live stream thing is something that we are testing to ultimately do a live conference mid-year. But this Thursday Thoughts is something that I wanted to do, and the team here at TDW are supporting me put that together. So I hope you found that useful. Please do send in your thoughts, comments, suggestions, ideas, good or bad, and let us know how we can improve. Let us know what it is that you want to see from TDW. And until next week, where I will be coming to you, I hope live from Geneva. I'm going to close down now and look forward to your comments and feedback.